My name is Anil Menon, and I am the SpaceX Medical Director, and I will be one of the 2021 NASA astronaut candidates. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a wonderful place to grow up because there's so much nature around, and I love growing up there. We used to spend summers in the Boundary Waters up north in Minneapolis, and you're just surrounded by nature. There's no machines, and it's one of the things that inspired me to go into medicine and wilderness medicine and just continue to explore my environment because there was so much beauty to explore. Before I was selected as a NASA astronaut candidate, I was the SpaceX Medical Director, so I was designing how we approached the human system from a health perspective when we were flying people to space. A NASA astronaut is someone who's interested in exploring the world out there beyond the reaches of what we're currently doing and just keep pushing the boundaries. And I think that's someone who does it for all of us. So before I had this chance to be an astronaut candidate for NASA, I looked to these astronauts to see where they could push things, and it was an inspiration to me. So now as an astronaut candidate, that's how I look at it. It's just a chance to explore and just keep pushing where we can go and what's possible and what people are capable of. I decided I wanted to be a NASA astronaut very early. I was 6 years old when I knew that it was a job that you could do, and I remember thinking how cool it was. And then I remember seeing a movie called The Dream is Alive. It was an IMAX movie, and I saw this astronaut in space, and I thought, now there is a job full of adventure, doing exciting things, and I didn't know how you go about doing it, but it just inspired me to go into science and to get interested in space and to learn what I could potentially do. So that's how I got first inspired. I wanted to be a NASA astronaut because it was a good combination of what I was just baseline interested in, what I thought I would be good at, and what I felt would make a contribution to society and the community around me. There's this Japanese concept called ikigai, and it's that you should pick a profession that you're good at, inspires you, and that you feel like could be a contribution to things. And medicine, for me, did do that, but I always wanted to go and do something with space. And so I was always trying to combine them both, and being a NASA astronaut was a great intersection of those different interests and desires. Through the selection process a few times, so it's exciting and fun, and it's also a bit nerve-wracking because it's a chance to pursue your dream and trying to do your best, and I was trying to do my best, so that was the challenge therein. But this time around it was really fun. I'm still friends with everybody that I met on my selection rounds before, and it's a real testament that trying and trying again and never giving up is the way to go, because I never thought that I would have this opportunity, but I kept after it and I kept trying to improve myself, and here I am. So it's really cool to be here. When I was selected to be an astronaut candidate, I was with a group of friends from SpaceX. They were mission directors, and my wife was there as well, and my two kids. And I remember it was early in the morning, it was 9 a.m., and I got a call from a 281 number, and I looked at it, and I thought it was gonna be a spam call. And so I thought, should I answer this? But I knew they'd be calling people soon, so I thought, okay, let me go ahead and answer this. And when I heard someone from NASA on the other end, it was the chief of the astronaut office, I got excited, and I thought, maybe this is it. But the first thing he did was ask me a question about SpaceX's Dragon capsule that I was working on. So I quickly kind of let my hopes down. I thought, this is just going to be a work-related question, and I started to answer the medical question. And then he changed gears and surprised me and told me, I'm just kidding with you. How would you like to be a NASA astronaut? And I was just so happy. And at that moment, my wife walks into the room and she sees the expression on my face and she puts it all together right away, and she just burst into tears because she knew what a dream it was of mine to be able to do that. And so that's the moment I found out. I'm inspired by the people who are around me. I have the fortune of being able to work in space, work at a commercial space company, have worked at NASA, and it really attracts to it. Just people interested in space, interested in pushing the boundaries, interested in doing more than they're capable of. So I'm really inspired by the people that I work with, and I always have been. And I feel like I can learn something from everybody who's around me. So I get to work with all these incredible engineers, and I get to learn how they think about concepts, and that affects the way I think about things. And I take that, and when I work in the ERs at a hospital, I use that kind of thinking and inspiration, and it just drives me to be better at what I'm doing, whatever it is. Someone who really inspired me was a professor of wilderness medicine at Stanford University, and his name was Paul Auerbach. And he just had such a passion for wilderness medicine. When he started doing it, it was a tiny field decades ago, and he created it into something that now we have doctors caring for folks in all different areas, from the jungles of Guatemala to Mount Everest, and just sharing that knowledge. And I had the fortune of being able to work with Paul Auerbach, and he encouraged me to pursue space as a field that would continue to grow, and space medicine as a field that would continue to grow. And I think what he brought was just a passion for space that was real palpable, and encouraging others to kind of fan that fire within them. And so that really pushed me forward. And he opened up some really cool opportunities for me to work on Mount Everest, and told me that I could translate some of those opportunities and thought processes to working in space medicine, which I think the next couple years and decades is going to open up a whole new a bigger field than we currently see. It's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited. I'm excited to train because one, I just like learning, and it's another opportunity to learn. So when you're in medicine, you do medical school for 4 years, then you do residency, and then you keep learning after residency with fellowship. And so you spend a lot of time training, and you learn to love it. And it's just such an opportunity to be able to learn. And I'm excited that I get to keep growing and learning. And I love that aspect about it. My least extraordinary thing is that I'm terrible at karaoke, but I love to do it. My wife and I do a duet of Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper for the Shallow song, and she definitely carries that role forward. But sometimes when I watch that video, I think I could use a little work in that area. Human spaceflight is the most exciting right now that I've ever seen. And what's really exciting is just NASA working with all these different commercial partners to push the boundaries to the moon, to the Mars. It just seems like the future is limitless, and it's happening really fast. I haven't seen it accelerate like this than I ever have before in my experience of space. And I feel like I've had the fortune to work at a commercial space flight partner, And that's been really exciting to just see the energy that it brings and the opportunity that it brings. And I'm really excited about that. There's tons of opportunity for doctors now to get into space medicine when there wasn't before. So at first, this job that I got at SpaceX was the only job for a doctor, or one of the few jobs for a doctor in commercial space. Now we're just looking for people and hiring people, and so we're just getting more people who are interested in, and they're being able to just develop the field and learn a lot. Since I'm a doctor, I'm most interested in just seeing physically what the human system is like. It's one thing to just read about in a book, and it's another thing to go there and observe with your own eyes. And I think in medicine, you learn by taking care of people. And medicine in space, you learn by going up there and seeing how the human physiology changes and how the bodies change. Outside of work, I love to fly. That's part of the thing that got me into space. So I love private piloting, and I'm an instructor for private pilots, and I love doing general aviation whenever I get the opportunity. I'll do that, and so that's something that I find really fun. I also like camping a lot, and so I'm trying to encourage my kids into camping, and we had a few forays into that, and so far so good. Everyone likes to do it. So if I have the chance to get out by myself, I'll put on a backpack and I'll get out into the woods, and it maybe takes me back to my Minneapolis, Minnesota roots. One of the best things I heard about becoming an astronaut was to really think about why I wanted to do the role. And I took the time to, on a daily basis, journal about why is it that I want to do this, and think about it really deeply. So I think it's important to understand the why behind it, because there's the saying, with any why, with a strong why, anything is possible. And by being able to do that, I think it's driven me through a lot of challenges along the selection process and the interview, and sticking with it to this point after having some challenges and failures in the past. My dream destination would be Mars. I know it's a step beyond where we're thinking right now, but I think it's really cool that we think beyond what even thinks is possible, and it seems really challenging to think, could we do something that far away? And there's a lot of medical challenges on the way, and I think us working collectively together to do something like that is the stuff that I would look back at and think, wow, we have really achieved something enormous. I know we're going to take a few steps there. We're going to go to the moon and continue to support low Earth orbit, but if I had a dream location, it would be Mars. I would share with students to really understand why the why behind what they're studying, and just keep asking that question and digging deeper. And by doing that, they will have just such a good fundamental understanding of the subject matter that they'll be able to use it then for the exam, but it will always be there in the future when they keep studying, and to have fun. As a kid, space inspired me to go into STEM. I just thought that it was so amazing what people were doing, and being able to work in such a challenging environment, that I wanted to figure out how could I get into that. And so as a kid, I figured out that STEM was the pathway that so many people took to space. And so that's what inspired me to dig into it and to learn it. And I've never looked back since then. I think at times, school, it doesn't come easy to everybody. It didn't come easy to me, and I've spent most of my life studying, and there have been chunks of time where I thought that it would be really hard to make it through the semester, or I was going to get a bad grade in a particular class. And what I just kept focusing on was the end goal and sticking with it through those difficult times. If I didn't feel like I was doing as well as I could be, and in the end, when I looked back at it, it's all knowledge gained, and it's all contributed to a foundation that helps me do this job here, and will help me in my coming years. And so I would just say, when people are feeling like they are not doing as well as they would like, just keep working at it, because it's not always going to be easy, but it will be worth it.